Hi, and welcome to Pyramid One World Radio. Let me tell you about the guest coming up. Her name is Elana Freeland. Elana has been a Waldorf school pioneer, a teacher, lecturer, storyteller, and writer. She has written for alternative publications, edited the stories of survivors of MK Ultra and ritual abuse, and ghost-written books on diverse topics. Her second major in college was biology. In 1996, she was awarded a Master of Arts in Great Books and honors for her thesis on historiography at St. John's College in Santa Fe, New Mexico. But she's got a brand new book coming out. You have to read it. The name of the book is Geoengineered, Transhumanism. Now, if you can't get that all the way through your mouth at the same time, Transhumanism. It is the third book in Elana Freeland's trilogy on geoengineering. Now, when we say geoengineering, what does it mean? It completes the picture, actually, of what geoengineering has been from its very inception decades ago. To control the ionosphere with phased array heater blasts so as to maintain an ionized atmosphere in which chemicals and nanotechnology and synergies can be continuously laid by jets, drones, and rockets in the name of, are you ready? Are you sitting down? In the name of climate change. We've heard that before, right? Probably about 100 times a day. Imagine. Thus the groundwork for the symbio, or synthetic biology, neutral network inside human 1.0 began by manipulating the macro environment upon which our extraordinary interior micro environment depends. And you're going to hear a lot about this, what it means to us, what it's doing to you and I, and what it's going to do to our children. Yes, let's stop for a second and look into the future. What is going on right now that could be changed or stopped that will give our children a chance to grow up like we did? Anybody that was born in the 40s or the 50s or even the early 60s, hey, we're fine. But will our children be fine? Let's find out. Let me welcome to Pyramid One Radio a person who you definitely will be glued to the radio. Her name is Elana Freeland, and a very honored guest on this show. Oh yeah. This is going to be one of those shows, ladies and gentlemen, that you're going to come away and you're going to be scratching your head for a week. But this show tomorrow, sometime tomorrow, is going to be on YouTube. And on YouTube, you just go in and put in Pyramid One Radio. You'll go right to our channel, get a copy of it, and listen to it over and over and over again till you get it. I mean, there are things in there that completely had me going in circles. But I got them. Of course, I played it back to 12 times, but I got it. So, what we're going to do now is we're going to hear from a good, she's a friend of ours. I mean, she's been on the shows net before. She's a fantastic woman. She's brilliant. Beyond anything else. We're going to bring in Elana Freeland.
Am I
Elana,
in?
how are you? Yes, you're in. You're in all over the place.
Hi, Bob.
Oh,
do you hear a little feedback?
Nope.
Okay, good. All right. Thanks so much for having me. It's been a long time.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time. Well, you know what? I tell you something. This is very timely if you think about it. Because all the things, all the information that you've amassed in the years that we haven't spoke is now happening. Everything that we actually tipped the iceberg.
Yes.
What, 7 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Or so? Yeah. About 7 years ago, and that we were kind of sort of in that vein of what's going on now, and now it's in a hyper situation. I mean, we're in a situation right now, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that we almost can't stop it.
No, we can't stop it.
No.
Not now.
I mean,
Not now.
it's gone to, we had a chance to stop it. We had a chance to open our mouths and say, hey, ooh, time out, stop this. There are things going on now. I just was on, and I guess I can say this, I was on Newsmax, and I was listening to some of the things that they were talking about. And I'm saying to myself, why talk about it when we the people, there I go, Constitution-wise, we the people can do something about it. Voting is what you have to do. And make sure that you do vote. Make sure that the vote that you put in is your vote. And go to somebody. I said to somebody, and this would even have to do with the things that you're working on. If someone sees something wrong, say something. There should be some private organization somewhere that could set up like an 800 number and a whole bunch of people answering the phone. And if you go online and you check your vote, which you can do now online, if you check it and it's not there, or it's not who you voted for, then you would call the 800 number and give them the registration number that's on your vote. And when they do, if they're going to use paper, put 2 squares on the top of each one of those votes or ballots. One of them tears off. The other one is part of the paper. The one that tears off, you tear off the one that's there with that number on it and you take it home. Therefore, when you go into the website to check and see whether your vote was counted the way you wrote it, you put in the number that was on the piece that you ripped off. And that number would put up your vote. And you would know whether you were there or voted or not. Nobody has listened to me yet. And I've been saying this for 3 months, 4 months. So go figure. All the things that we're working on and everything else, and that we need people with open minds.
Well, and the technology is right in there with the vote.
Oh,
and your idea of a paper check and balance on it is very good. I hope that would fix the problem. Otherwise, I'd like to chuck the entire software voting out because it can always be hacked.
Oh, sure, of course. But see, the thing that got me started on that idea was the plain thing that keeps playing through my head over and over and over again. We the people. There was a picture. I guess I was burnt. I had skin stuff and everything else in that when I was like a little kid. And a bank that was by us or by the hospital or something like that wanted a poster boy. So they made me the poster boy. And guess what I was holding in the picture? The Constitution.
Mm.
And I was like 9 when I did it. But from that time on, I've studied more about the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, et cetera, than anybody that I know on 2 legs. And the more and more I see what's going on around us.
Yes.
And your book was, that was like putting a torch on the bottom of my foot. It was like, she got it. It was like, hey, this is good. But what you're talking about in there is something that, again, affects we the people. So of course,
very much so.
We the people got to do something about it. Now, your book is it coming out this month now?
The new one?
Yeah.
This is the number 3 in the trilogy. Yes, it's coming out this month. I've had a few obstacles to getting it out, and those all seem to be cleared away now. So so let's kind of look at what you said about the voting, and then let me move to the big picture around the problem of nations, because this nation and Australia and Canada are fighting for their nationhood. And this has to do with the technology being used for geoengineering. It has directly to do with it. Mm-hmm. And that's what the last two books were. The first one that you knew me with, Chemtrails, HAARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. In that book, I pointed to Clifford Carnicom, the independent scientist that I was working with at that time, who really is the first person who began to analyze what was coming down from the jet trails over northern New Mexico. And that's a long time ago. That was back in the mid to late 90s. Mm-hmm. And he began to collect that stuff and examine it under the microscope. Ooh. And that's when it was discovered that something was being delivered, it appeared, by these jets, not just for military purposes, and a lot of the jets were not even military, they were commercial.
Commercial, right.
Something was going on in the sky. And only today, with this third book, do I finally answer the question as to whether it was intentional or not. And yes, it was. What was coming down in the mid-90s and ever since, whether they talk about geoengineering or not, it has to do with the synthetic biology that I'm addressing in this final book of the trilogy. In the second book, I went into, which is called Under an Ionized Sky, From Chemtrails to Space Fence Lockdown. I spent a lot of time building a picture for people, a mental picture, of how the space fence had been brought back under the SDS, under the program that was back in the 80s, mm-hmm. and that this space fence was what we generally call the smart grid. It was electromagnetic, wireless, everywhere, and of course now we know that has been absolutely achieved. And everybody has to have a cell phone. I don't own one. Why would I own a military weapon system? Mm. I don't own a television. Why would I own a military weapon system? I do own a computer. This is the one military weapon system I, as a writer and a researcher, have to have. Mm. But now I can see, hindsight is wiser than foresight. I can see back all the way through these two other books of my slow discoveries of one level after another of control.
They're in layers.
And it's what the first book called, From the Military Doctrine, Full Spectrum Dominance. Mm-hmm. So now we are living in, it's not the future tense I'm using here, mm-hmm. We're living in the full spectrum dominance. And we are as plugged in to this as if we had our two fingers in a light socket. But we need to know how it works. I can't end it. No, people don't ask me anymore, how can we get out of this, Elana? No, we're not going to get out of it as far as leaving it in the past. This is here to stay. And one way or another, we're going to have to figure out how to live within this, like an electromagnetic dome.
Like a dome.
That we all live under. And that's what this book is about, because what happened next, okay, so we had, the 9/11 happened 20 years ago, and there was a huge lockdown then, societal lockdown, in the sense of the war on terror, so-called. And now we had this, 19 years later, we had the COVID-19 drama, and we have arrived at the synthetic biology that Clifford Carnicom was exploring as falling from the jets back in the late 90s. Only now it's way more sophisticated. And that's what we have to confront, is to look back at this trail of tears that we didn't know we were on, and go all the way back and look at the chemical parts of it, the electromagnetic parts of it, the nanotechnology part of it, in order to understand what's happening in our bodies, because we've been breathing in this stuff coming down from the jets. We've been eating it
in our
from
plants?
GMO foods. We have been vaccinated with it for all these years. And now there has been a big genetic leap in that all three of those delivery systems, I would maintain. So I'm not trying to scare people. I'm not trying to be a fearmonger. There's too much data. There's too many footnotes that I would have to spend all that time, 2.5 years, to make people afraid. It's very simple to make people afraid now. No, it's to give people the chance to learn how they can handle this with their consciousness and with their lifestyles and with maintaining their immune system. The immune system now is a breed of something that may be being assaulted right now. And we need to learn how we can maintain it and not let it fall, because this dependency on hospitals and doctors and prescription drugs is a bad scene. It's criminal. It's gone into something that cannot be resurrected and made good. We have to take responsibility back for our health, both the health of our consciousness and the health of our bodies. So that's sort of the way I'm going in this book. But to get there, I start out with 100 pages devoted to what has happened in the geoengineering field above us, around the planet, and on the planet. And then we go into the second part of the book is devoted to the smart cities and what they really are, how they are armed and to control. And then I go into the third part of the book, which is about the genetics and this latest COVID-19 drama. So I'm embarrassed to tell you that it is 688 pages.
Oh, I saw that.
with 60 photographs, with 60 illustrations.
It'll take me a few days to read it.
It's the first book of its kind out. And so it's sort of like an encyclopedia to connect all of those things that I have in the title: Geoengineered Transhumanism, how the environment has been weaponized by chemicals, electromagnetics, and nanotechnology for synthetic biology. I want to go through all those parts to show how it works so that people can follow the trail and become conscious of what they're subject to now, so that they can begin to make inroads into solutions. And, it's already started, Bob. A lot of people are experimenting with ways to get the nanotechnology out of us, because I would say that is the big problem for us as individual humans, is that we now have, whether we're vaccinated or not, we have breathed in these nanoparticles, these nanotechnology nanobots, nanobot meaning robot, so tiny, and yet with tiny, tiny, tiny little computers in them that are transceivers, that can emit messages and receive messages. Right. This is our challenge, is the nanotechnology in our bodies.
And that that nanotechnology can make you do anything it wants to.
They can program remotely. Yes,
Right.
they can. And the thing about the nanotech, as long as we're on it, I had a dramatic insight when I was watching some of the drone footage of the California fires, particularly the Paradise, California fire of a couple of years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I saw moving on the ground what I thought were embers being blown by the wind, but they were not embers. They were nanotechnology in phalanxes, literally like the Romans used to set their army up, literal phalanxes of nanobots swarming and being directed to burn this house, but not this house, and burn this car, but not this tree. I actually finally realized what I was looking at. Not embers, not wind. Direction, remote direction, I would assume from guys on laptops would be directing them.
Oh, yeah, you can do it from a laptop. Yeah, sure.
So there's the swarm nature of the nanobots. That's really important because they have it's not the individual nanos that are the problem, it's that they swarm together. And that swarm is a form of consciousness. So what we're dealing with is atoms that have been laid next to each other to make a nanoparticle. These are the synthetic man-made ones. Space is actually full of nanoparticles. The planet is full of nanoparticles, but these are all sort of inert. They're just like dust. Right. They're not robotic. They're not programmed for use as weapons. But that's really when they get inside of us. I always think of that picture of the swarms moving through paradise and burning different houses and not others. So inside of our bodies, imagine them in swarms, and in our brain in swarms. You see the problem we have. And I know I'm just Miss Good News all over the place. But this is a technology that has been loosed on us with no democratic process, no debate, no study, and we are now going to have to deal with it one way or another.
You know, the funny part about, about things like that, they've been, these things are 50 years old. These things have been designed before World War II. These things began this type of research on these things, and I won't blame I won't say Germans, Italians, or anything else. I'm not going to say that. But the scientists are scientists. They're brilliant people with sometimes some pretty evil ideas. And power, which we talk about, it's on news every day. Power is one thing that is making this a hyper problem. In a way, these people want to be the powerful people that we, the people, here we go again, we the people are the slaves. And that's what those nanonets can do. They can make you a slave.
Right. And to be clear, the nanotechnology, to my knowledge, started out in the 70s. Mm-hmm. But the science behind it definitely started and got a real kick in the pants when we brought over the paperclip Nazis.
Oh, yeah.
When the Operation Paperclip,
right.
Engineered Nazi engineers, Nazi scientists, Nazi doctors, Nazi psychiatrists were all brought over, their records scrubbed. They were given carte blanche at universities, hospitals, given houses, big salaries. And that was the beginning of the end of the old America. And that took years. I used to be called a conspiracy theorist in the 80s and early 90s for talking about the paperclip, Operation Paperclip. Then books started coming out on it. So now there's a good dozen books on it that you can read. But that really was the kick in the pants that the naive scientists, and I would add arrogant American scientists, allowed these people who had a belief system that was extremely different from that of America into the nation and gave them the keys to the kingdom. And I think that when people tell me that they don't like history or they don't like science or whatever, do I care? No, I don't care, because if you don't know your history, well, look what's happened. I mean, Americans have not really ever been students of history, and they're just taken up with their magical items, the latest invention coming out, convenience items, entertainment items, comfort items, without a thought in the world as to that Constitution and the democratic republic that it stands for, that it needs protection, because there are a lot of people in the world who simply don't like people being free, and don't like people running their own lives and having their own free will.
Yeah, again, you're pointing at power. These people are the elite.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter, what kind of money. I mean, let's face it. I mean, if I made all that money, heck, I wouldn't be that type of person. I just wouldn't. But there has to be some inbreeding somewhere. You know what I mean? They come from family lines of people
very
that
much
do that.
Dynastic families,
exactly.
Bloodlines.
So that's
Definitely.
where all this comes from. So now the people that we go, oh well, he owns this company and this one owns that company. Look behind the curtain. I mean, there is a wizard back there. I mean, it is their family. And I mean, I'm crazy. I mean, I do a lot of research. I really, really do. And it's crazy because when I look at these things I talk to people every day. This morning I talked to a group. A lot of people don't get it. They'll look at you sideways like, are you crazy? And I'll be saying to them, I said, this is your life if you let it be your life. But you can get out of it. Just say no. I don't know why people don't do this. All those people that were at, for instance, January 6th. We'll use one that's current. Take January 6th. If everybody just sat on the steps of that Capitol and just said, no, we don't accept what you're doing. Millions of them, not a couple thousand. Get 1 million people up there. Heck, if you're going to do something, do it right. Get 1 million people up there. Sit down. Sit down. What are they going to? There's not enough cops to get rid of that many people if they just sit down and say, no, we don't accept this. And if they did that, this wouldn't happen. But you don't see it.
No.
You just don't. And it drives me up a wall when I look at those things. Like you were talking about fire before and the things from the chemtrails. I'm in Florida. And, of course, you're in Washington State. So, I mean, we're kind of far away from each other. But over here, we get all the planes from all over the place. I mean, this is a tourist state, right? When you look up in the air and when you look up in the air and it looks like tic-tac-toe on steroids. I mean, you look up in the air, you come in, your eyes burn, or you come in and you sneeze for an hour or whatever. It's all that stuff that's coming down on us that are here. And part of that's coming down, I found, I think I have one of the makeups of that stuff. There's aluminum in that. Now they talk about all the things that were going on. I know someone that's been on the show before that plants trees all over the world. And this man he's an arborist. He's unbelievable. I mean, what he knows about trees, forget it. You and I couldn't even get there if we tried. That's how much he knows.
Yeah.
And when he talked about it to me, he said one of the things that are in the chemtrails, he said, is aluminum, and it makes fires burn hotter.
Yes.
That's why they can't be put out quickly. A normal fire, if you hit it with water, it goes, psst, that's it, poof, gone. This stuff keeps burning. It's like taking something that's red hot and trying to make it cool. You're not going to do it. It's going to take a while.
And the aluminum nanoparticles, and they are on a nano scale, they're beaten down into the first 6 inches of soil now.
Right,
so
exactly.
When we go back to my swarm picture of those so-called embers running along the ground, that's what fed them, is those aluminum particles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, the aluminum is huge. It's killing our forests.
And you also, your water. Look at your water. I mean, we're drinking reservoirs and everything else now. We are drinking, like everybody thinks that, hey, listen, I got this spring water and I got it in a bottle and everything else. Look at this stuff. I'm so healthy, it isn't funny. Baloney. Where did he get this from? Somebody, and then they'd say, well, we got this from a mountain stream in the mountains. Well, the higher the mountain, the better the concentration of junk that's in it. I'm serious. Think about it. I mean, I'm taking it from a logical viewpoint. And this is one of the things I was talking about this morning, and I had everybody laughing, and I was like, hey, this is it. I said, see this bottle? It says pure. Guess what? It's not. So, and I mean, people are beginning to listen, but not like I'd like them to, and you're probably you too. I mean, they have to do their homework. They have to do their research. If they hear you or I speak, do it. Go find out what we said.
There's a problem with the idea that people are just not doing what they should be doing. There's a problem with that. Okay, so it has to do with what we were talking about before the show, the directed energy weapons. Mm-hmm. Now, what used to be directed energy weapons to me was a very a group of weapons. I could name them. But what's happened now is that our entire culture now, particularly in the smart cities, yes, but everywhere, has a lot of electric items like Alexa, cell phones, cars that are electric, etc., that have 110 computers on them. You're
also using Wi-Fi, which is deadly.
And the Wi-Fi. All of this is dual use. This is what the military calls it. Dual use. And what dual use means is it's military and civilian. And the line between the two has been scrubbed. So now we have, take a targeted individual, someone who's targeted in their own home. They're getting electromagnetically hit for whatever reason. The 60 hertz here in the States and 50 hertz in Europe in the walls can be employed for that targeting. The refrigerator can be used. The dishwasher can be used. The computer can be used. The cell phone can certainly be used. And then they've got the nanobots inside our bodies. Mm-hmm. So the targeting now with dual use technology really has to be looked at as directed energy weapons. And this makes it really tough because people are living around all of this gear that they think makes their life convenient, gives them entertainment, is a comfort of some sort, and all of it can be used and employed as a weapon system, particularly the cell phone. So everybody here, I'm going to make a big statement, and I think it's true. Everybody who owns an iPhone, whether it's a 4G LTE or a 5G or whatever, these have all these apps on them, and they are a weapon system. Mm-hmm. So you can be pulsed, say remotely, a whole area. They've got the cell phone towers up. They've got satellites passing over. They can employ anything within the Internet of Things in everybody's homes, in the neighbors' homes, the smart meter, whatever it is. There's plenty to go from whereby you can direct energy into that person's brain so that they don't care. or they're depressed, or they're enraged. Whatever the emotion, whatever the behavior, can now be pulsed into people, into entire geographic areas, so that people are all watching their TV, listening to how their TV is programming them with the amazing software in the modern televisions, and they're being programmed to hate so and so, some political candidate, or to feel hopeless, or to feel that the vaccine is good, or whatever the programming is.
All day. Mm-hmm.
Is being pulsed. So when we talk about people being lazy or not studying and learning the issues and all this, I have a bit of compassion, a very tiny amount, I might add, for people who have not studied the technology because their leaders have not wanted them to study the technology. And so they've decided that the entire area where people are actually trying to be activists on the internet to teach people about 5G and different issues, those are all conspiracy theorists. Don't listen to them, because they're not telling the truth. So, it can be done in groups or individually now, Bob, and that's one of our problems. I mean, I remember, do you remember that short clip that came out, I don't know, a year or two ago, of the guy who got into a tank and trashed a few of the cell towers in the place he lived?
I think
he was arrested, of course.
Yes, right.
But he said he'd had it. And I could so relate to him. It was no solution because our problem is much larger. But I understood what he was feeling, because he knew the pulsing was coming, and he knew where it was coming from. And no one's going to intercede. Who are you going to go to? The police? Who are you going to go to? The utility company? You're going to go to the military? No, there's nowhere to go.
Let me tell you a short story on that one. And that when we're in Florida now, but when the studio was in Charleston, South Carolina, we had a home there, and on the side of the house, and that was the meter, and it just happened to be connected to where the master bedroom was, outside of the master bedroom. Okay. So, you get a bad night of sleep, you get a headache, you'd be feeling hurt, this and that. And that went on for about 6 months and that, until I got smart on this show by someone that was on the show. And they said, do you know what's going on in your house? I said, no, what's going on in my house? I said, well, just so happened we were talking the guest was from Canada, and we were talking about smart meters, how they were hurting people. And I said, oh, so what do I do for something like that? They said, well, look it up and go look. So all right, I went and looked it up. Well, I put this screen that was around the meter and put, like, there were steel pieces in that connected it. Because when I called the public place and that public utility, they told me, well, if you want us to move the meter, I wanted to move the thing on the other side of the property. I mean, we had almost an acre of property. So I figured, put it out there where the acre is, and like let the deer deal with it. So, all right, so I was going to put it out there. They said, well, it would cost you something like $300 or $400 a yard.
A yard?
A yard. So if you got 3 feet, every 3 feet, it's going to cost you X amount of dollars to take the thing from here and put it over there. Yeah. So I said, I don't know why, She said, because we have to wire it back to the house. I said, no, lady, hey, listen, I'll buy the wire. Just get it out of here. Nope, can't do it. So I finally found that place that told you how to put this mesh around it. Do you know that in 2 days, any effect we had was gone? So that proved to me that all the people that I was talking to that couldn't believe what I was saying, when I was saying this thing is hurting you, that's when I was absolutely convinced. But look at the extent that I had to get to do something about it.
Well, you'd better do it for your cell phone. That's all I can say. You
Well,
better do the same thing for your cell phone.
I'm not a cell kind of guy. Like when it rings, then it's somebody like either from the office or someone that's calling in from somewhere in the world, like Pakistan
Yeah,
or
but
something.
do you keep it by your bed at night?
No.
Okay,
It's on the other side of the house.
Or maybe even lock it in your car. That would act as a sort of Faraday cage. But anyway, you get the point. You get the picture. And I'm not really worried about you, Bob. I'm more worried about the people who are not taking care of the Democratic Republic because they are being influenced. You can take that to the bank.
Mm-hmm.
There is no question in my mind. People may be stupid and people may be lazy, but that won't explain everything that you can see around you now, of the low brain power, the inability to concentrate, the narrow way of thinking of, in fact, I can't even call it thinking anymore. It's some sort of slogan thing and bumper sticker thinking. I don't know, but the land of the same land where Abraham Lincoln and William O. Douglas had a tremendous debate in Illinois back in the 19th century, and people would come in. I read this in, by the way, if you want to read it, in Neil Postman's book, Amusing Ourselves to Death.
Oh.
Fantastic book. And he writes in there about how these pioneer types of Americans would drive in their horse and buggy with their family and big picnic baskets full of food, and they would hear one speech, one in the morning, late morning, then they would break for a lunch, and then they would hear the rebuttal of Douglas or Lincoln the next, and then they would break again, and then at dinner time they would have one speaker and then another speaker, and then they'd drive home in their buggies under the moonlight. Mm-hmm. So this was people who could. Americans who could actually listen for hours of speaking, remember everything, have discussions during their meals with each other, and then go back for another round and really absorb these ideas and think about them, because at that time it was, how old was the Republic then? It was less than 100 years old.
Yeah,
it was like 50, 60 years old. So that, to compare that with what we have now, where people, I guess, generally think of America as a machine that's sort of run by those with a lot of money and power. And the rest of us just have to find our niche where we can more or less have a satisfying, perhaps a safe life. And that idea will not support a republic, as you can well imagine. So whether or not we can regain our nation, the question is, what are we going to do about this technology? That's the key. And the geoengineering, it is not just about weather. I have not said that to you, but I want to be very clear. It is not just about weather. It is about 7 different operations going on in the atmosphere, all of which impact us living on this thin little area of planet Earth. So we have this technology in space, near Earth orbit, low Earth orbit around us. We have all of these huge radar installations, airports, cell towers, fiber optic cable. Everything is wired to the hilt, to the gills.
High tension wires.
High tension wires, absolutely.
Yeah. That's
all
mega,
of them
mega.
Vibrating, resonating, carrying, all manner of things. And we are being penetrated all day and all night long. So I think that our freedom, just as the ballots, you're not going to have honest elections as long as it's totally electronic. I know that. We haven't had an honest election, I think, since Kennedy was assassinated. And you're not going to, for the same token, You're not going to have freedom as long as you've got all of these waves passing through your body and brain. We really have to find some sort of solution to our relationship with technology. My solution, poor as it is that I refuse to own any other devices than the computer I need for my livelihood and for learning, because now, of course, I can't trust the mainstream media. I certainly can't trust magazines, newspapers, all those things out there. So I need this one device, and I can't chuck it out. But I absolutely refuse to have. I have a landline, works fine. To minimize the technology, turn the router off at night when you go to bed. Make sure that around your bed in your bedroom you have no devices that are running, no devices that can be utilized in a targeting situation. And that's the best I can do at this point.
Yeah, I have a Wi-Fi in the bedroom and that runs the TV. And that because once in a while I like to see before I go to sleep, and I like to see what's going on, whatever.
You better get it out of the
bedroom.
Now,
wait a minute. I can turn it off.
Oh, it never
I can
goes
turn it off.
I'm sorry.
No, but I'm saying I can literally turn that unit off.
Unplug it from the wall.
It doesn't actually unplug. There's a switch in between the main, where it comes from, the main internet thing. There's a switch there, and when I turn it off in the bedroom, it turns off the switch. So the switch is everything in front of it, but not the other way.
But you're not hearing me. You cannot turn dual-use technology off. Your TV, turn it off. It's still listening to you, and the camera in behind the screen is still filming. Okay, I'm serious. I'm not being paranoid, though I am paranoid too. That's my sixth sense, I like to think of. But I'm paranoid for a good reason. So you'd better research that if you want to just maintain your health to a nice old age.
There's another thing too in it that I have to tell you, that I talked to a doctor in the hospital, and we got on this subject for some reason. That there was something in his office that it didn't work, and I said, "What do you got, a headache?" And he goes, "As a matter of fact, I do." This is in a hospital, so you can imagine what goes through a hospital. So I said, I said, maybe you should do something like, and I mentioned about the meter, and he said to me, he says, you have a pineal gland that is turned off by Wi-Fi.
Yes,
and
it
all
is.
These things. I had no idea. When you turn that off,
your pineal gland is good for.
But everything from spiritual to who you are. It's
the means by which you're connected to the starry heavens and all things divine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I mean, people like if you had a pineal gland that was overworking, you'd be a psychic, or you'd be a channeler. And that in the spiritual realm of things. I mean, and if it's not working at all, what are you?
No,
you're nothing. Your personality is.
I don't like to use the idea of channelers. That's a special category. But in most people's lives, the pineal gland is also the seat of their imagination. Mm-hmm. And not having a good imagination, says Rudolf Steiner. I'm a student of Rudolf Steiner's ideas. He says that you won't develop a true morality. It's not a matter of being religious. It's not a matter of going to church or temple or whatever. It's a matter of your imagination really showing you the right way for a human being to be. And that's what we need.
Do you see that you went exactly where I wanted you to go, believe it or not? And when you went there, what is going on? Now, when you go to the bathroom and that when you're out somewhere and that, it says, yes. It doesn't say his or her. It just says, yes. It's a bathroom. Or if you go into a bathroom and that, I mean, I was in a bathroom in a big city that's not too far from here. I'm not going to say which one because they're weird. I don't know. But I'm sitting there and a girl walks in the bathroom to go into a stall. And I'm like, at least I think it was a girl. I mean, whatever. But I mean, you want to talk about turning off that gland? Whoa! I mean, I'm telling you, see what I mean about what you just said, and that about the morality and everything else, and it being brought out because of that being absent. I mean, it went out to lunch actually, but with this gone, it's the entire population is going to start accepting things that 20 years ago we all would have laughed at.
It's already happening. It's already happening. And the pineal gland is so important. I have in the book, I spend quite a bit of time on the pineal gland. So I hope that people will be able to read that, because the pineal gland is so much. Now think of the PCR swab test, right? The one up the nasal?
Yep.
Guess what that's going near? The pineal gland. Guess what they're doing? They're putting something in you. It's not about getting something out of you. It's about putting something in you. And do you think it has to do with the pineal gland? I think it does.
Mm-hmm. God, then I'm going quick. I had one of those tests last year.
You did?
Oh yeah. They didn't. You know, like all these people, I hear them tell stories about this thing. They stick it in too far and all this kind of stuff. They didn't do that. They just squirted around that a little bit, and they didn't stick it.
So they didn't go all the way up.
No, I didn't get the jab.
All right, good. No, I mean the swab didn't go all the way up your nasal cavity.
No.
Excellent.
No, the girl that was doing the test, it was really funny though, because I mean the look on her face and that, I wish I had taken a picture. But I turned around to the woman and I said, you know, I get really, really mean if you screw up my nose. And I said it seriously, just like I just said it now. And she went, oh, don't worry. I'll be very nice. I'll be gentle. And then she just went around the thing, and then I was negative, obviously.
So let's return to the human being. All right. So there seems to be, and this is the position I take just to warn people in the book, there seems to be an assault on humanity itself. And this is why I'm so serious about spending, 12 years now on the geoengineering thing and ending up in synthetic biology. Now, as you read, biology was actually, I had considered having it as my first major because I really love biology, and I did a lot of biological work when I was in undergrad. But now I've returned to biology for this book, and really, it almost didn't even help me because...
Really?
Yeah, I remembered stuff. I remembered a lot of things, but they are moving molecular biology into digital biology.
Right.
And what that means is they are now creating synthetic entities via computer. So, and if you put that together and you just move it a little bit further, you're going to see how, again, we're back to the electromagnetic wireless civilization that we now live in and how we're all plugged in. You can take those synthetic entities and put their signature on a wave and zoom that wave straight to someone's brain or whatever part of them you want to zoom it to and infect them or from a distance. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. This is how that works. So that's what digital biology means, and now everything is pretty much digital. That's another sad part of the technology run amok. The psychopaths and sociopaths running amok with our technology that could help people, but is actually being utilized for control.
There was something that I actually caught on the internet today, but I only got a little piece of it. I couldn't get the whole thing, and then when I went back to where it was written, it was missing. Wonder what happened to that one, huh?
Funny thing about that.
Yeah, they just go poof. But I got part enough that I maybe it's from my background and me looking around too, that I kind of got it. They're coming out with something that's a little bit now for anybody that's watching this video, you're going to see my fingers where it is. If you can see in between my fingers, that's as big as this particle I'm going to talk about is. It's about that big. It's about the size of 1/4 of a piece of rice. All right, that's how small. It's something that they're going to start putting in people. And right now they're putting nano nets into people, but this is an actual chip. That chip is programmable, and it can either go in your wrist, your hand, or your forearm. And what you do is when you say go into a place, so you just went shopping and you're going out or whatever else. Okay, you just take your hand and just put your hand down, and it automatically knows your credit card number and who you are and everything else in that, and charges your account. The other way, it works exactly like the ones that they put in dogs and cats and things. Exactly the same. And it's programmable from the outside. You could be walking down the street and somebody can reprogram your name, and then all of a sudden, ooh, I'm not him, I'm him. This stuff is coming out. It's in the works. And the guy in it that put it on the thing and that says, I know where, but I can't say it on here. And then when I went back to see what the guy was talking about, it was, whoop, gone. Somebody took it off. This is something that's underlying. It's going on behind these mandates. The more and more and more we listen to these people who are mandating us to do this, mandating to do that, and oh man, I'm telling you, they another article too, which connects to this that I'm talking about with the actual chip in a human. That same technology is connected to their theory of getting rid of cash. They want to get rid of cash and make it all digital. They don't mean bitcoins. They mean just like you and I would go into a place and we could use a debit card or a credit card or whatever else, and that's digital paying something. In a debit card, instead of having cash in your pocket, you have a debit card. And the debit card electronically transfers that cash to whoever you're buying your product from. Okay, that's all great. That's all fine. But when it's part of you, it has your whole history, medical, what you made, your bio. They can tell you how your heart works. The whole 9 yards comes out of that little chip. So now when I'm thinking about your book and transhumanism, I'm saying, whoa, there it is. You're actually, in your book, you're giving people a preview of what could come if people don't resist.
Well, what could come? I'm sorry. No, the verb form is wrong. It's what is coming right now.
Well, yeah, okay.
Right now.
Yep.
And that, you'll find in the mainstream media, they constantly use the future tense or the, whatever that other one is, the coulds, the woulds, the shoulds. No, it's now. And, it's in a way too late to stop it, but we have to find a way to live with it until we can get smart enough about it to see how we might be able to throw a monkey wrench into it so that it doesn't work anymore. That's my hope.
Yeah, I got a way of getting rid of it. You don't want to know about that part, do you? But they keep on saying with voting and everything else. Why don't they give everybody a ticket to an island in the middle of somewhere that they can't get off of? It's like, just go out there.
Okay, you ready for the real shocker? Okay, so let's say, for convenience sake, how much time do we have?
No, go.
Okay, all right. Let's say, for argument's sake, though I think I could make a case that it's true, that this vaccination thing is about changing the human genome, and that with the vaccine, software is being implanted in the body that will change our genetics so that we become transhuman. And transhuman means still human, but they would like us to think it's enhanced, but it's really modified. It's a modified human. And if this modification is the way I think it will be, it would make it so that people no longer think spiritual ideas, no longer think spiritual thoughts, no longer desire to have spiritual experiences, no longer self-reflect on their behavior and on the morality of what it is to be truly human. They won't do that anymore. And now there is a patent in which it's very clear that the human rights clause that is now being defended by various lawyers around the world in the Nuremberg II sense, that the human rights clause will not apply to transhumans. And transhumans, they will be known, and they can be remotely known, as we now know, because some people are glowing and have magnets, right? They have the magnetic tracking devices in them that they will know who is human and who is not. Mm-hmm. So human rights will not apply to transhumans. I had not really thought about that until maybe a couple of months ago when I discovered this patent. And so I, of course, put it in the book. But that's kind of the direction we're going in, where in humanity itself, there are some people in charge. I'm not sure they're people anymore. I'm not sure quite what they are, but they are definitely on the trail of changing our human genome and bringing us into, slave mentality for many, mm-hmm. And other aberrations of what it is to be human, as if these people want to thumb their nose at God, at anything spiritual, at the high, instead of thinking of the human as a developed ape, to think of the human being as a little lower than the angels kind of thing. It's still in process, in transit, still learning lessons in life to be a greater moral human being, a real human being, not someone out stealing from others and performing rapes and horrible violent crimes.
Burning cities.
This is what this is the humanity that I am protecting, as the greatness of human beings, of some of our artists, some of our saints, some of our athletes, the excellence of the human being, the morality of the human being, the depth of the human being, not the couch potato and the one trying to get away with something because they feel small. No, that's not how I think of humanity. I think of those human beings as being in transit. They're still scrabbling up the mountain to find a way to become human, to become truly human. Mm-hmm. It isn't just a matter of having a head and 2 arms and 2 legs, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I no longer assume that everyone I meet is truly human at all.
Really?
I really don't.
Oh, my goodness. The thing that, when you were saying that, or your last, talk, it brings to mind, when they keep saying the unvaccinated people are causing the spread of COVID-19. Now, if you think about what I've just said, and I saw it exactly in those words on TV. In fact, I even went to a whole bunch of channels because they all read out of the same script. I wanted to see if they all really did say the same thing, and they did. But the idea of the thing is, the person that's unvaccinated, maybe they caught COVID-19. And what happens to the immune system? Whoop! Right through the roof. Just like any of us that had chickenpox, measles, mumps, anything like that. We didn't get it again. We got it once, we got over it, goodbye, next. So they don't need 70%, and I did look this up. 70% of the people, or of the people's bodies that got the disease, 70%, it won't get it for 70%. That's their number, 70%. But it's only 50% if you got the vaccination. So why are they telling us you're right? Why are they telling us that we must get vaccinated? We must get the second shot. Now it's a booster. Now they're coming out with a pill. They figured that
world domination. It's
yeah,
world
but I'm saying,
domination,
yeah, but you're right. They don't see the results they're expecting to see. There are doctors or researchers somebody somewhere, that is taking this information and they're saying, nope, it's not working yet. So let's get shot 2. Oh, well, it's kind of sort of working, but not working yet. Oh, well, then they need a booster. Okay, so let's get them a booster in there, and there'll be another booster too after that one. This is the things that are actually, they know it works, they know it can work, and they know it will work if they continue on their way. If we're stupid enough, and I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying stupid. I don't mean everybody's stupid. No, not everybody's stupid. Ignorant, maybe, but not stupid. But if you're ignorant enough to keep going back for those shots and everything, and not doing what you're supposed to do, everybody goes to McDonald's, Burger King's, all these things. Where do you think that cattle came from that you're eating? Ooh, and it's like mass meat stuff and everything else. I can tell you what I do personally. I mean, I take a regimen of vitamins in the morning that most people that look at me and they say, "Are you nuts?" But it's every single one that helps your immune system, that boosts your immune system, I take, like the D3s, the K2s, all those kind of things, the zinc, all these things that help you stay healthy. And then I eat organic.
Yay!
Yes. I mean, I grow. I have a garden, believe it or not.
That's it.
I'm a radio communicator, and I go out and speak to people every day, and I have a garden. Why? Because it's mine. I didn't put anything in it. I didn't drop anything in it. I didn't put Roundup in it, which is something that you see in all the stores.
Yeah, but I want to be clear that your garden, unless it's covered, is still getting the stuff from the sky. However, that said, the point of eating organic over GMOs, and I remind people that 26 nations in the world will not allow any GMOs in
except
their
this one.
boundaries.
Except this one.
If you do the organic over the GMOs, you're eating from natural seed. And that's super important. What GMO stands for, does anybody remember? Genetically modified organism.
Right.
And it is from Terminator seed. Now, the Terminator seed is interesting in that it will only last one season. And Monsanto and the other creeps that did this made it so that farmers would have to come back
and buy
every
more
year
seed
for their seed. Okay, it's a moneymaker. But what does it mean that it's Terminator seed? It means that it dies, it has a small window of life in it, enough to grow a genetically modified organism. That is not natural seed. And by eating GMOs, you might as well eat rubber tires, in my opinion. You'll still get some nutrition out of rubber tires, but you won't get very much. And meanwhile, your body will begin the slow death.
Right.
And that's why I say to people, it used to be that organic meant you were some sort of hippie. You were some sort of crazy hippie eating organic. And, and the other reason people don't eat organic is, well, it's so expensive. Yeah, well, how expensive is your health? And I'm not talking about going to hospitals and doctors with health insurance. I'm talking about real health. And really, I've eaten organic since I was 21, and I'm 74. And I haven't been to a doctor since I was 13 because I use Chinese medicine and I eat organic.
When I was a kid, my dad had his, he was from New York, and he bought a house in New Jersey. It was after World War II. So, okay, he's gonna have this big garden. Well, he grew plants. Neighbors used to come by our place just to look at what was growing. That's how he used to grow in the garden. And he used to say to me all the time, if you eat this, you'll be fine. But that was when there was no GMO. Everything that was that was done, everything that was grown, no matter where it was, anywhere in the whole world, it was not GMO. GMO didn't start until after Kennedy.
Yeah.
And
Getting
when
rid
that
of
happened,
Kennedy was the beginning of a lot of things.
yeah. But after that happened, then all of a sudden they said, "Whoa, wait a minute, we can do this. We can take over. We can make them do what we want them to do."
So
And-
what? Oh,
Go ahead.
All
Well-
right. So what is dropped from the sky? I just want to make this clear, and I spend a few chapters proving it. What is dropped from the sky is corollary to what is put in the fields with the GMOs. In other words, the people controlling those two technologies are in cahoots with each other. And now add the vaccine. What's in the vaccine? Well, aluminum for one thing as an adjuvant. Aluminum is in the vaccine. It's in the plant, in the fields growing GMOs. It's being dropped from the sky. That's one thing. That's only one thing. There's all kinds of stuff that is all corollary in these 3 delivery systems that I analyze in the book.
And those seeds were, well, you got to figure, they had all kinds of poisons and everything else that were put on the plants before the seeds. So the seeds contained all that poison and everything in the seed. And when it grows, it transfers it to the plant. And of course, you're eating all that plant. So if you're doing, say, Roundup or something, it's in the seed. And the seed is growing it. And then they're poisoning it too.
I want to be clear. I don't want you to go away with the wrong idea that the seed, it's not just the poisons in the seed, it's that the seed itself is synthetic. It is not at all natural. It is synthetic. It is genetically modified. That's the important part. So if you eat genetically modified food, what happens to your human body? It begins to change.
Right.
And now they're marching out this vaccine because they've spent decades preparing us for this very moment to shift us into transhumanism. You see how it works? Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it's as far as GMO and that is concerned, it's only here. The other stations, the other countries, they won't allow it.
No, but the air carries.
Well, the air counts, but it's not as bad as going right into.
Bad.
Yeah,
but 26 nations have made it a federal crime,
right,
to bring GMOs in, and that's how bad it is. And yet Americans are still eating it. And the other thing is, they're still heating stuff up in microwave ovens. What planet is this in America? I mean, the microwave ovens have a magnetron in them. That's a weapon system. The food you pull out of the microwave, you might as well just throw it out because it's over. There is no nutritive value left. And people almost every household I ever am in has microwaves. What is up with that? It's not thinking. Yep.
Yeah, it's just to do things faster. I mean, we got one built in this house, and neither one of us really used it that much.
You shouldn't even have it there because the magnetron is broadcasting. But anyway, I'm not here to solve your life, but I want to be clear. I want to be very clear because I know a lot about this stuff. I'm not just, whistling Dixie here.
We have to get together again. And that, I'm serious. We should get together like once a month, and continue from there. Because let's face it, anybody that plays this back is going to learn, or question, or they'll get on the computer and go, they said that. I wonder what that's all about. Boop, and they'll go right on the computer.
Well, it's been a real conversation. When was the last time you heard a real conversation, unless you were running it? Yeah,
that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
So we will.
But I won't come back on until you read some of the book.
I got to get a copy of the book. The other thing is, tell everybody in that how to get the book.
Okay, so the way it's working is I left my publisher of the previous 2 books, Feral House. They were great to me, but I had to go on my own. And I'm doing this book on my own, so it's now been formatted I'm going to be submitting it to the printers, the publishers, at the end of this week. So you should be able to get the book in another week or 2 weeks, because I don't know. If you get it on Amazon, it'll take a couple, 3 weeks. If you want to pre-order the book, you can pre-order it from the Rudolf Steiner bookstore in Seattle, Washington. And there are over 300 people on that list now, waiting with bated breath for me to get this book out. As I said, the book is big, and I want it used like a handbook. Mm-hmm. It's like a handbook for you to learn about these technologies and how they serve each other for control, and how we can still have a very meaningful, viable life if we can just start coming to terms with the technology around us. And then regarding the other 2 books, you can get them on Amazon or at Feral House, and that's it.
In the meantime, if anyone wants to know, oh, by the way, give them a website. Where do they go for a website to go?
ElanaFreeland.com.
Yeah,
very easy.